Alright, to Briar Road. Plop. Well. This is where it happened. Briar Road. Look, Mr. Naruto! Blood in the water! Look at that regulation metal helmet. It's unmistakable. The men of Scotland Yard are here. They're investigating as we speak. That is their job, you know. But Mr. Naruto, to see one with my own eyes. They're often depicted in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but I never dreamt I'd ever come this close to a real Bobby's helmet. What? The helmet? Hee, of course. I have to try one on one day. Well, I hope your Hattie dream comes true. Yes, it's you. What's the Japanese delegation doing here? Oh, Inspector Gregson! This isn't on the tourist trail, as I'm fairly sure you're well aware. Yes, of course. We're here to investigate. So you've been to the whole stuff. What is your the criminal? He's not a criminal, as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect. Whatever you say. We'll see about that. You Japanese like to stick together, I suppose. Well, do what you will. It doesn't bother me. Bloke's in court tomorrow, whatever happens. And the verdict's a foregone in conclusion. Stone cold air projection. Take heart. London at this time of year is full of stone cold air. That makes it worse somehow. Tell me about Scotland Yard, Inspector, and give me one of those helmets, please. Ever since I read about it in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, I've been fascinated by the place. Well, the Yard is the most sophisticated police. I died. Yeah, blood on your hand.
They just took out my heart. They just cut out my fucking heart.
The Yard is the most sophisticated policing organization you'll find anywhere in the world, ma'am. But most specifically, it's in Scotland. Oh, and you know, I've always dreamt of wearing a real Bobby's helmet. It does make them look the part, seeing that policeman there with the helmet on. You certainly get the sense that this is a man who will take no nonsense in his duty of protecting the city. Oh yes, doesn't he look wonderful? Being a Lord and Bobby is hard going, I can tell you. Oh, really? First thing in the morning, you know what he does? Goes around and rouses all the laborers on his beat so they can get off to work. What? He wakes people up? Yep. Right from the windows with a long pole. Did it myself going back a bit. I had no idea. Bobby works for the people of town. It's still one of his duties. After that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the streets all day long. He has to cover 20 miles a day. That's the regulation distance. I can't really imagine how far that is, but it sounds like a long way. Yeah, I don't use miles. Actually, so wait, did they switch from Imperial to metric, or were they always metric?
I don't know.
Imperial makes it sound like they had it at one point. Let me see. 20 miles. That's approximately the distance from Tokyo to Yokohama. On foot? That's definitely taking things a step too far. And when it gets dark, of course, he has the important job of lighting all the gas street lamps. Oh my. I suppose in between all those duties, Bobbies are expected to investigate cases as well. And chase after criminals trying to evade the law? I'm not sure you could call it in between exactly, more alongside, but yes. I expected to handle those jobs as well. We have men keeling over from time to time, I admit. I'd always dreamt of wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it's with a heavy heart that I shall have to relinquish that dream to you, Mr. Naruto. Your heavy heart will be my heavy head if you do. Damn it, we didn't get to wear the hats. Happened around 5 in the evening 2 days ago, just there on that open bit of pavement. That victim, a young woman, was stabbed with a blade from behind. Is that right? Is it right that the lady is still unconscious now? You mentioned that she's being treated in the hospital. I never said she was a lady. Truth is, unless she comes around pretty smart-ass, we won't be able to find out much about her at all. What do you mean by, I didn't say she's a lady? That's really confusing. Here's a map of the local area I happen to have on me. You can take it if you want. Really? Are you sure? Paper is actually not that expensive. It's your policy to give lawyers defending suspects the odd bit of information to go on. I haven't actually accepted the job yet, but still. Thank you, Inspector. We gratefully accept. Local map. Anywho, as far as we know, there's no one else on the scene other than the victim and your fellow countrymen. So who did it, do you think? Not much of a head-scratcher, is it? Well, I know Mr. Natsume is not also claiming not to have seen anyone else around, but just because he didn't see anyone, it doesn't mean we can be sure that nobody else was present. I'm sorry I have to tell you, but we most certainly can be sure. How? Because, ma'am, the precise moment of the stabbing didn't go unnoticed. What? We have 2 very reliable witnesses, no less. Well, then they could have done it. It was a typical foggy London day, and your client obviously didn't see them. They were witnesses now. That twisty Japanese bloke goes on trial tomorrow. You're gonna be defending him or what? Well, makes no difference to me, but I will just say this. No London lawyer worth his salt would touch that case with a barge pole. Because the prosecution is being handled by the Reaper of the Bailey, you mean? There's no way to save the man now. It's a waste of time trying. It's a bit strange, though. A Reaper. He hasn't appeared in court once for a good few years now. Yes, we did hear something to that effect. The only people he usually bothers with are the real scum, the master criminals, the violent ones. Master criminals? The violent ones? That's what I said. He handpicks the victims, only deals with those guaranteed to go to the gallows for their sins. But Mr. Natsume won't hang for what he's accused of, surely? That's just my point, Sunshine. Yes, the young woman was stabbed, but it didn't kill her. Couldn't even say the intent was there. So this isn't the sort of case I'd be expecting the Reaper to want to sink his teeth into, for want of a better phrase. Well, it's not exactly a minor infraction, is it? No, it is not. There's gotta be more to it. Some reason he's taking an interest. Really? What sort of reason, Inspector? Well, I don't fucking know. You think I can tell what's going on instead of the head of that Lord of Darkness? You'll have to ask him yourself at tomorrow's trial. Are we really gonna have to face the Reaper again? The Lord of Darkness, as he put it? Who are these witnesses, Inspector? A fellow and his wife. The man's one of the most reliable and respected citizens in all of London. He's a copper from Scotland Yard. But Detective, ACAB, a policeman, that might change things. And this policeman just happened to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked? Nothing peculiar about that man, part and parcel of being a bobby, catching him banging the... They were banging? He was banging his wife on the job? I mean, like, props to him, but holy fuck. For us to ask that policeman a few questions? Be my guest. You can ask him what you like. In court tomorrow. Fuck. I've no doubt he'll be summoned as a witness. So that'll give you something to look forward to. That's that, then. He's got no intention of letting us meet the man beforehand, it seems. Policeman witnessed the incident. As your judicial assistant, I must warn you that this could make our job very difficult indeed. Yeah, as a non-judicial assistant, I could have warned me of that, too. Oh yeah, one more thing, Inspector. What? The person who led you to the suspect. I hear that was Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Well, fuck. What are you bringing him up for? He dead. The color is drained from his face. His cheeks. His cheeks. Where did you hear that name from? Oh, well, it was Mr. Natsume who mentioned it. He said that Mr. Sholmes was with the police when they entered his lodgings. I'm sure it was the result of one of Mr. Sholmes' inspirational great deductions. Fiddle faddle. That man's an amateur, and I'm getting sick and tired of him showing his mug everywhere. Oh. I don't know where he gets his information from, but he turns up at the scene of the crime, wanders around spouting incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, he claims to have solved the case. Yes, he's quite astounding, isn't he? He is a great help to Scotland Yard, though, isn't he? Gibble gabble. Ah! Ever seen this before? Oh yeah, that's Rand's magazine. The wonderful publication in which the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes appears. It's all fucking bullshit, that's what it is. Well, that wonderful publication, as you put it, sees fit to include several of the Yard's detectives in its stories. And the so-called great detective makes a mockery of all of us. If you ask anyone at the Yard, it's a misadventure to be included in any Herlock Sholmes tale at all. Well, I suppose there is an element of that. We work our socks off, every one of us, only to be frumped by the public thanks to that obnoxious detective. The man's as dangerous to us at Scotland Yard as he is to all our criminals. It can't really be true, can it, Inspector? Fuck him. Clearly, the great detective and the police have a complex relationship. Well, now I've calmed down, got my fish and chips. Well, I don't think we're going to get any more useful information out of our detective. Mr. Naruto, can I make a suggestion? I want to steal one of the Bobby's helmets. Yeah, what is it? Well, it seems to me that we must speak with him about this. By him, do you mean Mr. Sholmes? Yeah, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes, exactly. Look at those shining eyes. You can't wait, can you? Well, Mr. Natsume did blame Mr. Sholmes for all this, didn't he? Yes, he did. He really did. Which makes him an involved party of the case. Are you just going to ignore that? I hope not. I assure you, it's not simply my selfish desire to meet with Mr. Sholmes again. The trouble is, I don't believe you. We have no idea of that man's address, even. It's Baker Street! How do you know that? It's in the stories, of course! 221B Baker Street, the most famous address in the world. Well, there's nothing to stop us from going, I suppose. We better try to find our way there before Sato-san gets any more excited and unpredictable. Hurrah! I'll summon a carriage, and then I'll punch it! So we're gonna have a reunion already. With the great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Well, before we do that... investigate the snowman. What a delightful little snowman. I didn't realize the English had a tradition of making snowmen as well. It looks a little creepy, though. Oh, it has a scarf, look! You need one if you're out in this freezing cold all the time. I wish I had one. I'm afraid our budget is somewhat frozen at the moment, too. We certainly can't afford a scarf. Not one scarf? Surely the snowman here wouldn't miss his. But the person who made the snowman certainly would. Yeah, I know. You keep reading my mind. You're right. Anyway, Even if I borrowed it, it wouldn't do much to warm my neck, would it? It's covered in snow. That's a Scotland Yard carriage! They used vehicles like that to rush crime scenes and cart away criminals. You're very well informed, aren't you? It's long been a dream of mine to ride one of those through the streets of London. Well, just pick up a stone and throw it through one of the windows then. But that would mean being arrested in order to ride it. Wouldn't it? Still, if it's the only way... Help me find a good stone! No, 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 no! No crime. No crime here. I don't want to have to defend you in court. Hello, Bubby. It's one of the officers from Scotland Yard. The police are making sure this crime scene is undisturbed. I have a feeling that if we wander too close, we'll be clapped in irons. It's like perhaps you're being a little overcautious. We've done nothing wrong, so we have no cause for concern. Oh no, I'm not getting caught out again. Twice is enough. After all, we are people of color here. Twice I found myself in handcuffs despite not knowing a thing about what was going on. Yes, you've had some dreadful experiences. I'm sure it's that wide-eyed look of panic you're so prone to. It does you no favors at all. Ugh. This patch of pavement must be where the incident occurred. Yes, it's a very wide open space, isn't it? That's true. I can't see anywhere an attacker could have been hiding. What are you foreigners doing here? Oh, just investigating the scene, officer. Come sparring with that mustached fellow from Japan, are you? Aspiring? Come here to destroy evidence, have you? Get out of here before I have you give you an Iden? Iden? What is this word supposed to be? Before I give you an Iden. You shoot us away like rats. Yeah, we should give him a wide berth, I think. What is this disappointing experience? Strand Street. Look, the windows of that building there. Are you sure they're windows? Yeah, but they're all filled in with bricks. Oh, you're right. I wonder why. Perhaps it's an empty property where nobody lives at the moment. There's smoke coming up from the chimneys, though. Oh dear. Everything still feels very foreign. There's so much we have to learn about this place. Oh, up the street. There are piles of snow on the pavement here and there, but the road itself is covered in carriage tracks. Seems carriages often travel down Briar Road. It's a road, so yeah, it soon disperses all the snow. I slipped over when I was walking down the pavement earlier. It seems like it would be far safer to walk on the road instead. But then you'd get run over. You're rather small, Naruto, and all dressed in black. I worry coachman might not see you and you could be flattened by horses. Well, thank you for the rather small concern. This bike is suspect. I don't like this bike. Ah, British bicycle, look! Although the wheel is so misshapen, I'm sure it can't possibly be written anymore. Someone must have been doing some breakneck cycling. Seems bicycles have become extremely popular in London recently. There's even a movement to change women's dress to allow them to ride as well. The bicycle fad won't last. I don't see why anyone would want to ride in something like that. This is a lie. It's a lie brought on by capitalism. You've been fucking exploited by the propaganda, Ryunosuke. Bicycles are great. Everybody should ride a fucking bicycle. No, not at all. I mean, it's not like I dislike them exactly. It's just that any occupation that involves taking both your feet off firm ground seems reckless. Well, yeah, okay, you got a point there. If you've ever tried walking on stilts and fallen into a river, I know you'd agree with me. That's awfully specific. We'd have to hire a bicycle sometime. You can sit behind me while I ride you around. Whose house? That's a typical old, rather typical old brick building, isn't it? I'm sure it has a long and interesting history. Well, time certainly does seem to have taken its toll on the place. It's crooked and sagging all over. In fact, it looks in decidedly worse shape than the other houses around here. We must find some cheap lodging ourselves as soon as possible. Yeah, you're right. Cheap, but ideally with reasonably level floors. Yeah, I didn't even notice, but yeah, it's warped right around here. The fucking sagging sides. Alright. I guess it's time to move on. Nothing else here? I mean, we got the William Robbins OnlyFans. Alright. Still don't have any pieces of evidence, so... 221 B. Baker Street. B. Baker. Oh, cutscene. Baker Street.
Thank you very much. It's just up there.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Thanks again.
I like how nobody gives a fuck that we're carrying a sword around with us. Oh, shit. Yep.